It's the Bobby Mo Show presented by Dollar Energy Fund and First Commonwealth Bank. Dollar Energy Fund helping our neighbors in need maintain basic utility service since 1983. Visit dollarenergy.org or text the word WARM, W-A-R-M, to 53555. And First Commonwealth Bank is here to help you build financial confidence through everyday moments of life by supporting businesses to helping families find a house they love to call home and saving for whatever tomorrow brings. Visit a First Commonwealth office or visit fcbanking.com, member FDIC. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Bobby Mo Show. I'm Chris Shovlin, the play-by-play voice of Robert Morris University basketball and football, and that's why we're here today. Head coach Bernard Clark Jr. is here with me today. And Coach Clark, this has been an amazing time in your life. First and foremost, we're here to talk about the new recruiting class for 2023 and the latest Colonials to come in and join the red, white, and blue. But it's been an astounding couple of weeks, couple of months for you. Celebrated a milestone wedding anniversary. You were inducted into the Orange Bowl Hall of Fame, and deservedly so. And you're in the process of trying to figure out what happened last year, getting ready for this year. So
Absolutely.
all of that at one time.
Yes, no doubt about it. We got a great recruiting class. We feel very strongly about these guys. They're coming in. They're meshing pretty well so far with our guys. 20 years, be 21 this year, so I'm excited about that. To my beautiful wife, Tammy Montgomery Clark. And like you said, I got inducted to the Orange Bowl Hall of Fame, something that I never thought would happen. So it's very humbling and very exciting at the same time, Chris.
I don't know why you never thought that would happen, because you were the MVP of the Orange Bowl back in your day. Yeah. And let's talk about the festivities that happened in Miami. I know you were down there for quite some time.
Yeah, I was down there. I went home to see Mom, obviously go home for Christmas, but went down there, got down there on a Wednesday, had dinner at Joe's Stone Crab. Pretty nice place. The next day they had the banquet. The banquet went real well. You know, I was received pretty good. Like I said, it's the first time, actually the second time, biggest moment in my life that both my parents weren't there because my father passed in 2019. And we had later on that night, had a festivity, and then went to the game that Friday. We were there all day. Had a hamburger eating contest, which was outstanding. Tried to figure out which was the best tasting burger. We was there all day. Then a friend of mine, because she was excited about me making it to getting inducted to the Orange Bowl Hall, she had a party for me and my family. So had an opportunity to get by Maureen Marks' house along with her husband, Tom Pirro. So had a real good time, enjoyed ourselves.
One of the other things you did was also publish a book, and I want to talk about that a little bit later coming up in the Bobby Mo Show. What I want to talk about right now, though, is this recruiting class that you brought in. I know that you came here to the Eaton Park Club at the beautiful UPMC Event Center, and you welcomed some folks in and announced a big recruiting class, and you're bringing in kids from all over the country.
Here we are. We're doing a great job of bringing in guys all over the country, and the coaches have done an outstanding job of finding the right talent that we need, something that's going to help our football team. The one thing we did was we really jumped in the junior college pool and also the transfers, just because we felt like we needed the experience. Last year we were so young, and when our guys got hurt, we put in true freshmen, we put in redshirt freshmen, redshirt sophomores. It was just a tough season for us trying to get over that hump. So we were like, you know what? Let's go see if we can get some experience and get a buffer between that, so we got some older guys and some younger guys, and then we can slowly bring some high school guys in so we can get this thing rolling.
Well, that's the thing, you know, this transfer portal, the changes in the NCAA, that's really allowed some liberties for coaches to go out and find some more veteran players.
Yes, it's done a great job of that. Then the thing that jumps out at you is some of the guys that want to come here. You know, one of the guys we got is Ryan O'Hara. I mentioned Ryan because he's a local guy, not too far from here. We're talking about a 6'8" offensive lineman that was able to come here because he wanted to be close to home and he wanted to get an opportunity to play. And Ryan's going to be a real good player for us. And another young man, we call him D Pierce, and he's also from Miami of Ohio. So those guys really want to go where they can have an opportunity to play more and be involved more in the offense and be involved more in the defense and show their talents.
I know Miami of Ohio was one of the teams you played last year, so while you were there, obviously they were attracted to Robert Morris, I would say, to a certain extent.
Absolutely. I think that had a lot to do with it. They kind of saw what we were doing. In fact, we played them tough. You know, like all of us know we didn't play well last year. We didn't win any games, but there were games that we played hard, and that was one of those games where we played tough, and some of those guys saw what we were able to do. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons that Ryan chose us, because, you know, it was came down between us and St. Francis, and one, he wanted to be closer to home, but also I think he had an opportunity to see us play and saw what we were trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach, you know, I know you didn't win any games last year, and the thing is, it was a tough season for you in particular, for the ball players in particular as well. But the thing is, there was fight in those Colonials.
Yeah.
There was never a game where there was any give up.
Right.
Nobody let down. Everybody fought to the end.
Well, the good thing about it, they always fought. And there's lessons in losing also, Chris.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they come to you. And as the season went on, I was frustrated at first, but as the season went on, I found a different way to coach our guys. And you and I talked about it earlier. You have to learn how to coach some of these young men because they can't be coached the way I was coached or the way you was coached coming up. So you got to figure those things out. So when it comes to losing, there's lessons in that also. And a good buddy of mine put it this way. There's winning, and then there's learning. There's no such thing as losing. It's learning because you're growing, from those mistakes that you've made and those opportunities that you let slip away. So we're trying to figure out the right way to do it, and we're trying to start right now. We don't want to start then when the season starts. We want to start right now, which is what we're calling the first quarter, getting things going right now.
And I can tell you that is the absolute truth. There is winning and there is learning. And the thing is, the way your team comported itself. I mean, I traveled with you for a couple of ball games, and the way they carry themselves. I mean, they're good young men.
They are. They're great young men. That's the good thing about it. We don't have a whole lot of turds, so that's the great thing about it. We got guys that really want to get after it, that want to play hard for us and put it on the line. And we were sick for those guys. A lot of guys crying after the game. We were crying after a lot of those games. But, again, like you said, they fought. That's what you want them to do more than anything else. And you can build off of fighting. A lot of times when you're not fighting, you're trying to figure out what's going on. It's hard to build off those things. But we got some things we can build off of, and we got the right nucleus of guys that we think to make this thing work.
Well, this new crew coming in, no doubt about it, it will build on to what is already here at Robert Morris. And I know that you're bringing in student athletes from 12 different states as part of the latest recruiting class, 6 from the Sunshine State, where you hail from, the most of any state. Robert Morris has also signed 5 student athletes from California, as well as 3 each from Ohio and Pennsylvania, Coach Clark, 2 each from New York and Virginia, 1 from Delaware, a guy from Georgia, Illinois, Michigan, New Jersey, North Carolina. I mean, you scoured the entire East Coast, Midwest, and part of California, the West Coast.
Yes, we did. We got a couple of coaches on our team from the West Coast. Coach Firm, who's now our new offensive coordinator, and Coach Darius. Both those guys are from that area. So they told us a little bit more about the junior colleges out there, because I was one of those guys dead set against going to California, because you got to cross a lot of states to try to get those guys here and see if they want to be a part of this. And coming from the Sunshine State like California and coming to this weather is also tough. But the young men we brought here, they want to be here. They've shown us how much they want to be here. We went out there and we found some good defensive linemen. The other thing we went afterwards was wide receivers. Didn't have a real good, we had a good group of wide receivers, but they weren't a great group of wide receivers. We're trying to bring that nucleus together like I was talking about. So hopefully the guys that we brought us some guys from Wagner, guys from VMI, some guys from different places, some guys from California. So we're trying to build on that and make it go. And we brought a young man from Albany to compete at the quarterback spot. So we got some guys where we needed to have them on offense and defense.
I saw that, and you were an assistant at Albany before you came here.
Yeah, he wasn't there when I was there.
Okay.
Yeah, he came after I got there, but Coach Cattuso, him and I are still good friends, and when we started looking at the young man, he called me and said, "You're getting a good one. We don't want to lose him, but obviously the starter's going to start because he's the guy there, and this guy just didn't want to be a backup anymore, so we want to come where he can compete and feel like he can win the starting job."
All right. What were the biggest needs? You mentioned wide receiver, and you brought in a lot of wide receivers, but what were some of the other bigger needs that you wanted to address in the offseason?
Defensive lineman and offensive lineman. That's the biggest thing. We brought a couple of offensive linemen in, brought one high school guy, we brought one guy from out of Ohio that I spoke of earlier. But we're still looking at some more, still maybe looking at bringing a couple more, maybe JUCO or transfer offensive linemen, just to trying to get that buffer between the young guys and the older guys, and defensive line. We're not got a few of those guys to make sure we can build on that. That's where you build. You got to build from the front back on both sides of the ball. If you're not building from the front back, it's going to be tough. And that's what we suffered last year. When we got injured, just take the offensive line, for example. The last 4 games of the year, we had 3 redshirt freshmen, 1 redshirt sophomore, and 1 true freshman starting to protect a true freshman quarterback. So it's a situation where we got to find that buffer and find those guys. And again, not making excuses, I'm just talking about some of the situations that we had to deal with.
And doing so in a league as big as the Big South. And it's tough. And the Big South is going to change a little bit coming up next year, too, because it will be joining forces with another conference in order to stay strong in the NCAA.
And another tough conference, the OVC, is another conference we're getting into. But I think we got a little better feel of what we're going up against. And I always tell everyone, when we hit 2019, we had that good year in the NEC, and then we're going into 2020, we feel good about spring, and COVID hits. It's like, okay, so COVID hits. And then next thing you know, oh, you're going to join a new conference. Like, okay, who we join a conference with? So we're waiting for the season. We're like, okay, who we're going to play this season? Is it going to be NEC? No, it's going to be the Big South. and then the season gets canceled. And then we play only 3 games in the spring. So we're trying to fill everything out. So to be totally honest with you, this is the first year we really had an opportunity to recruit for the Big South and know who we're going against and the opponents we're going against, because in 21 we played them, and then 22 we really got after it. It's one of those situations where we know who we're going against now.
All right, we're going to come back after a short timeout, talk about the schedule and how tough it is, even in the non-conference season. Oh my God, what were you thinking when you booked this thing? But we'll find out.
Absolutely.
We'll find out in just a little bit. Bernard Clark Jr. is the head football coach of the Robert Morris University Colonials. He and I return here on the Bobby Moe Show coming up next. And by the way, Robert Morris opens its 2023 season Saturday, September 2nd with a trip to Colorado Springs, Colorado to take on Air Force. The home portion of the 23 slate begins the following week when the Colonials host in-state rival St. Francis at Joe Walton Stadium. RMU will also welcome Lynchburg September 23rd, Howard September 30th, at home as part of its non-conference schedule, as well as Tennessee Tech on the 28th of October, Charleston Southern November 11th, and Eastern Illinois November 18th in Big South OVC action. And the reason I bring that up right now is because tickets for Robert Morris football are already on sale. All you need to do is go to Ticketmaster or, most importantly, rmucolonials.com. We'll come back with more of the Bobby Moe Show next, right here.
Many families in our community are struggling to make ends meet and can't afford their monthly utility bills. They are at risk of a gas, water, or electric service shutoff, which could make it impossible to do even the most basic of household tasks. You can make a difference by making a donation to Dollar Energy Fund. Your contribution will be matched dollar for dollar by Dollar Energy Fund's utility partners, and 100% of all donations will be used to help local families maintain or restore utility services. Help your neighbors in need and donate today at dollarenergy.org.
At First Commonwealth Bank, we're excited to be your community bank, here to help you build greater financial confidence through the everyday moments of life. By supporting local businesses that strengthen communities, to helping families find a house they love to call home, and saving for whatever tomorrow brings. Visit any of our community offices to start your journey to better, or visit fcbanking.com. First Commonwealth Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, you can win beer for a year, courtesy of Coors Light and RMU Basketball. Take a picture of yourself wearing RMU gear, along with a Coors Light or Coors Banquet, and tag RMU Athletics and Coors PGH on Twitter or Instagram. Win weekly prizes, and the grand prize winner of beer for a year will be announced after the RMU men's basketball game on February 18th. Pick up your Coors Light 30 packs at Moon Beer and Pop for just $22.99, or enjoy a Coors Light or Coors Banquet at Jailhouse Saloon 52 or The Hangar, or right here at the UPMC Event Center. Must be 21 or older to participate. For rules and more information, visit rmucolonials.com/beer for a year. The RMU women's basketball team is home for 2 big Horizon League games this week here at the UPMC Event Center. Tip-off Friday night against Detroit Mercy is at 7 p.m. and Coach Charlie Biscalia's Colonials take on Oakland Sunday afternoon at 1. Tickets for both games are on sale now through Ticketmaster and at the box office on game day. And as always, there's free parking for all RMU basketball games at the UPMC Event Center. And individual tickets for RMU men's and women's lacrosse are on sale now through Ticketmaster. The RMU men are defending Atlantic Sun Conference champions and are looking to defend their title with 7 home games at Joe Walton Stadium, including the home opener against St. Bonaventure on February 21st and a title game rematch with Utah on April 8th. The RMU women play 9 home games at the Joe, with a home opener against Bucknell on February 25th and a marquee non-conference matchup with Notre Dame on April 16th. For schedules and ticket information, check out rmucolonials.com. Welcome back to the Bobby Moe Show, your favorite podcast if you're a Colonial fan. Bernard Clark Jr., the head coach of the Colonials, is with me right now. And Coach Clark, I started talking a little bit earlier before the break about the schedule and the home schedule, but the away schedule is absolutely a meat grinder with a capital meat, because you start off at Air Force and you come back and play Youngstown State right over the border, and you know, who dreamed this schedule up?
Chris King.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
And the thing about it, before Dr. Howard left, I think he wanted to play against Air Force, so that's why we got the Air Force game. But I think it's a good home opener for us. I mean, a way opener for us.
Sure.
Again, they're a good challenge. They're a running team, so we'll see how we can stack up against the run. And also, I'm looking forward to see what Coach Firm can do this year. I thought he did some great things toward the end of last year when I made the change mid-year, and I think I'm looking forward to him doing a lot of good things this year. So.
It's another bit of a landmark game, as the Colonials have never played that far west before.
Wow. Okay, that's a good thing. And the bad thing is the atmosphere.
Yeah,
so
that was the next thing.
Yeah, we're only getting out there one day ahead of time, so I don't know how the guys are going to be able to breathe when they get out there. But I'm looking forward to playing the game because again, the option's always tough to defend. But I also think that, like I said, offensively, we may do some things that may be tough for them to defend. So the game may come out all right.
I know the Colonials have played YSU tough in the past, and it's another challenge going over to Stambaugh Stadium.
YSU is always a challenge. Youngstown, I remember when I was at FIU, Florida International University, and I was a defensive coordinator. First game we played was against Youngstown, and we ended up winning by by 7 points in overtime. So they've always been a tough challenge no matter where I've been. They're always going to be a tough team.
And we mentioned the Big South and the OVC are combining. The Ohio Valley Conference is going to be welcoming you for a number of games at their home stadiums, but also Robert Morris is going to welcome some teams from there. So we're looking for bigger crowds here at Joe Walton Stadium.
We're all looking for bigger crowds in the first. They talked me into doing a 6 o'clock game, so we'll be playing St. Francis at 6 p.m. It's one of those situations they wanted to play at night, but it's a situation where I think our guys are going to be well rested and be in a position to be able to play that game. So I'm excited about playing another NEC opponent that we played in the past, so it'll be an opponent that we're kind of familiar with and getting a chance to play against them. And against Lynchburg College School we never played against, but it's a situation where they can come up and we can play them tough and put them in a situation where our guys can, hey, get after it, see what they can do, and get some things done.
All right, can't wait to see the Colonials back out on the field this year and getting back in the winning column, and that's what it's all about. There's no doubt about it. You know, that's not all that it's about, because I know that your concentration is building not only a good football program, but building better people, building better men and stronger men. And I mentioned earlier that this year you became an author. You wrote the book Ascension, A Coach's Guide to Becoming a Better Man, Husband, and Father by Bernard Clark Jr. There's a look at it right there. And you know, I'm getting the magic marker out. I want you to autograph my copy of it. But Coach Clark, let's talk about the book and what inspired you to write this, and what inspires you to not only build a great football program, but build great young citizens who are going to take these lessons through life.
Well, I think football has created the person that I am. Even though football is what I do, it's also made me kind of the man that I am. And I tell people that because it's taken me places I never thought I'd go. You know, when I was with the Dallas Cowboys, I played a game in Japan. Yeah. So it's a situation you got to learn how to carry yourself. And in football is a true team sport. It's the only team sport that I truly believe. Because in basketball, you can take a ball full court and dunk it. In baseball, you can hit a home run. But in football, you can't do anything without your teammate. So it teaches you trust, it teaches you honesty, it teaches you discipline. You got to be relentless. All those things become very important when it comes to football. So I wanted to be in a situation, and you know our mission statement, Chris, is to create an environment on and off the field to continue what families have done and help these guys become better men, better husbands, and better fathers. Because football helps you do that. It's not just, a person said this a long time ago, football doesn't build character, it reveals character. And that's the great thing about this game. It'll show you what kind of person you are, what you can put up with and what you can't put up with. So that's why I always tell these young men, figure out how you're going to learn, how you're going to grow. And that's what football did for me. It helped me grow. It helped me become a better man, a better husband. So.
And you share your pathway into life in this book, and share it very well.
Yeah. The one thing that jumps out in one chapter that I love, it's called Change is Inevitable, but Growth is a Choice. And I really had to grow this past season. So it's one of those situations. But you know things are going to happen. Things are going to change. You and I spoke about it earlier. You can't coach young men the way we were coached back in the day. All those changes are going to happen. But you got to be able to grow with those changes. If you're going to be able to reach these young men, you got to be able to grow. So those are the things that are important to me. The thing that inspired this book was a simple fact that I felt like young men didn't know how to love themselves. Everything was so much more important, and people always put things more important than a young man's body, and it comes back to him using his body as if it was a tool and not understanding you just can't give your body to any woman. she has to be worthy of it. And that's what I want a young man to understand, that you have to understand your body is a temple of God, just like her body is precious and it's a temple of God, and your body's precious. So that's why I wrote the book, because I want young men to understand that. Probably, Chris, the most outstanding thing that happened to me is 2 days ago I got a text from a young man. I coached down at Florida International, and he has a son now. He said, Coach, you've just given me a different way to look at my son. He said, I read your book once, and then I just read it again today to reassure I'm going to raise my son in a different way and try to teach him that his body is precious and it's a temple of God.
This is the roadmap, no question about it. Coach Clark, what was the turning point in your life? What drove you in this direction?
Probably May of 1996 is when I gave my life to Christ, and I became a believer. And it wasn't so much that it was an epiphany or anything like that, but there was an overwhelming sense of peace that came over me, that everything was going to be okay, no matter how rough it got. I always tell people I have bad moments. I don't have bad days. It's a situation where you kind of got to get over it and realize what's important, because in order for me to be a light for young men, I have to act like a light. Like I tell the coaches all the time, don't yell and scream at the referees, because if you start doing it, the players are going to start doing it. Don't walk on the field. Don't be the get back. If you stay back, they'll stay back. So you got to understand, you got to be a light more than anything else, and that's what I want to be to these young men. I want to be a light.
Well, you're a fascinating guy. I can
Thank you,
tell
sir.
you that. And it's fun being around you and fun watching your football team. And I know you guys didn't get into the win column this past year. I know you're going to this year.
Yes.
Just the fact that you continue to build this program, that there have been so many challenges here since you've gotten here. I mean, you know, from COVID to jumping into a brand new huge conference, to facing some of the tougher teams in the United States. And I know that you don't shy away from anybody, but I know big things are coming up for these Colonials.
I appreciate it, Chris. And you know, like I know, we're going to continue to push these young men to be better men, husbands, and fathers. But we're also going to continue to push them on the football field so they can get their minds right and create the discipline that we need on that football field to win.
I know he's not plugging this, but I am. How do you get your book in case somebody out there wants?
It's on Amazon. If you go on Amazon and you punch in my name, Bernard Clark Jr., it'll pop up. It's on Amazon. And I appreciate you, Chris.
It is Ascension, a coach's guide to becoming a better man, husband, and father. Bernard Tiger Clark Jr., the head football coach of the Robert Morris Colonials. I have my Sharpie here with me. I'm going to get mine autographed, and that'll do it for the Bobby Moe Show this week. Tiger, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it. Always enjoy. You know, I love your voice, and it always echoes. I appreciate
I'm glad it's
you.
back. I'm glad it's back. RMU Athletics is proud to partner with Dollar Energy Fund at First Commonwealth Bank for the Points for Power program. For every point scored by the RMU men's and women's basketball teams this season, $1 will be donated by First Commonwealth Bank and will be matched dollar for dollar by Dollar Energy Fund's utility partners to help local families keep their homes warm this winter. To date, more than $6,100 has been raised to help our neighbors in need. We'll see you at the basketball game, and we'll see you next time on the Bobby Moe Show.